Hi everyone. As we start this live, I have one question for you. What is the right food? What do you think is the medicine for you? Something which is labeled as medicine or something which heals and nourishes your body? Well, that's pretty much the job that our food is doing. So we have our host joining with us who will enlighten us more on this topic. Let us wait a few more moments. Hi everyone. Hi. Uh, okay. Am I audible? Am I audible, everyone? Yeah, please, someone, can you tell me if I'm audible? Okay. Hi everyone. Thanks for joining in. Yes, we'll be joined. Thank you so much, Rajiv. Hi, Dr. Alka. So we
Hi.
have we have Dr. Alka with us, who is practicing in Ayurveda who is practicing Ayurveda in Kerala from the last 6 years, and we are so glad that you're with us, Dr. Alka.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
And Dr. Alka, how is the weather actually? I really wanted to ask.
The weather is pretty good. It's slightly drizzling out here, but otherwise it's pretty much a pleasant weather.
Okay, and it's like here it is also drizzling, but the weather is quite, humid. So,
Okay.
without much of a delay, Dr. Alka, I would like you to, tell what exactly are the right foods, or why do you think we should eat the right way? What is the importance?
Okay. So talking about food, food is basically a fuel for the body to function. And the fuel is not the same for every engine, right? For every different engine, it is different. Similarly, for different bodies, depending on the body's requirements. Say, for example, generally we can classify the crowd into three different lots, like the Vata, Pitta, and Kapha, which is like very the hyperactive kind. The second lot who are like toward the short-term bird, and the other one who is like kind of settled and calm. So the requirement of fuel for the three different groups will be different. And in that itself, depending on the kind of activity you do, or the kind of like the things you do on a daily basis, or the kind of weather you live, the place you live, then again the kind of the requirement of fuel varies. And for the same reason, the kind of fuel varies from person to person. So it can never be the same thing. Like one shoe size won't fit all. It is like very individualistic. It is different for every single person. So that is why it's important to eat right depending on one's body's requirements.
That is a great example that you have given, that one should eat according to the body type. The common notion or the common myth is we should eat the right food. If someone is saying, let's have the chia seeds today, it's really good for you. Chia seeds are in a hype these days. So everyone will start eating chia seeds because they think that it is healthy. But actually, what it is it meant for your body type? Is it meant for your constitution? That is a really important thing. And
Yes, yes, yes.
that with that comes, the main, if we don't eat properly, what do you think are the most common symptoms that we get if we are not eating properly?
Okay, the first and foremost thing is like nothing, but your stomach is gonna be upset. If your body doesn't want something, if it is not really looking for the right, I mean, if you're not feeding it with the right kind of fuel, it is gonna right away reject it. And the first and foremost symptom is like you're gonna feel bloated or you'll be having acidity. Then in couple of minutes or hours, you'll be feeling sluggish, followed by a coating on your tongue, and then your bowel will be affected. Your bowel is affected for no other reason because you have fed it with the wrong fuel, and the body is like unable to get rid of it in the right way. It is unable to take out the right amount of nutrients and remove the rest of the waste. Rather, a third property or a third molecule in between is formed, which is the inflammation, and then you end up in confused state with the some or inflammatory kind of bowel. Bowel habits will be affected. So the first and foremost thing you need to notice is like, if you have had the wrong kind of food, you will get bloating, you'll be getting acidity, you'll be feeling sluggish, you'll be having brain fog, then coating on your tongue, and your bowel will be affected. These are the basic things that even a layman can look out for, like, if it's the right food or not.
Yes, absolutely. And I mean, I have posted so much on coating, check the coating of your tongue again and again. It tells
Yes,
you a
yes,
lot. Yeah. And every
yes.
day, if you're checking your tongue, I think that is such an important indicator. Also, people think like, how can I look in my stools? They think like that. But I actually, myself, I also had a lot of digesting issues. Like today also, if I do these two checks every day. Like they have become a norm for me. I have to do them every day. So I think that is
Yes,
really
that's very
important.
basic. Like, if you can eat food, why can't you check out the waste that is going out of your own body?
Yeah.
It's not a second person's body. So I think these are the basics that, like, from childhood that we should be trained for. Like, how is your tongue? Definitely you brush your teeth. Definitely after that you can check your tongue. And then, like, once you are done with your bowels, you can even have a look at it. Okay, that I would like to add a very basic point out there, which is like, when you pass your bowels, one one should not be forcing it out. You should not be applying pressure, because eventually you will end up with hemorrhoids or piles and many other complications, piles to start with. Then the second thing is like, you should also assess the features or the qualities of the poop. The very basic being that if it is like properly, like if the body has been able to properly digest the food and the rest of the things which are not required for the body, and if that is called like the waste from the body, the waste has to float on the water. Like, it's very basic. You don't have to feel yuck about it. You need to check that. And post evacuation, you should feel light. You should feel like, like your your stomach should be kind of feeling light. And you should also start feeling hungry post evacuation. These are the basic lakshanas, or the signs that you can look out for if your metabolism is functioning well, and if you have pooped right. Yes.
Yeah. So that is one basic thing that we should do in Ayurveda. Mal Pariksha has been given so much importance, and that tells us what is the condition of ama, or the undigested food in our body. If in especially if I like to add this, if someone is having so much seeds, or the black chana, or some heavy dals or something, they have I have already, like, people come to me and say, we get what we eat, we see that in our stool. So that is something, hilarious, because if you're eating and it is coming straight out in your poop, it means that nothing is getting metabolized in your body,
Yes.
and
Yes.
everything is
Yes.
coming
Yes.
out.
Yes.
And over it, you are getting weak every day. And then you think that I should eat more ghee and more of that diet,
Yes.
and so what would you like to say about that?
Okay. One, there are certain foods that you should be consuming regularly, and there are certain others which are not to be consumed regularly. And unfortunately, today we are all being made to believe that those foods which are not for regular usage, that is said to be the most healthiest. One, green leafy vegetables. Two, pulses. Three, drinking liters and liters of water. Then eating a lot of meat. See, the problem with all these four are like, starting with green leafy vegetables, just like in the post I had mentioned that I posted like 2 days back, we are no ruminating animals. We do not have a second stomach to digest of or like break down all the fiber. Like, you can imagine green leafy vegetables or green leaves are mostly eaten by ruminating animals. Say, for example,
Yes.
cattle. They eat it first, then they bring it back to their mouth, again chew it, break it down, and it goes to the second stomach. And that is how the digestion happens. Now, we do not have a mechanism for that. So, how do you
Yes.
expect the body to digest it up? Then the question will be like, don't we need fiber? Yes, we need fiber in moderation. Like, depending on your body's requirements. Say, for example, if you're a Kapha Prakriti, then you would need it. If you are basically a very set calm, peaceful character, then you may need that extra roughage or fiber. Otherwise, you don't need it. Second one is pulses. We know all these pulses so dry, right? Like no, they're so dry.
Hmm.
You have to soak it overnight to make it to cook it. So that means
Yes.
being so dry, it is that ruksha or like vata aggravating. And for the same reason, if you commonly observe those people who are into consumption of pulses daily, say for example, green dal, like moong dal, then you have different kinds of tur parpa and stuff. Then you have chickpea, black gram, soya. All these, if you keep consuming them regularly, those people will mostly have gas issues. They'll be having gas trouble, they'll be having joint pains, and they'll be having buckling kind of pain at different parts of their body. These are like very common. The moment you remove this, then and there the patient will start feeling better. So it's like on one side, we are being said that pulses are definite,
Yeah.
especially sprouted pulses. Sprouted pulses, Ayurvedically, they are said to be virudharanya, which means they are very tough to be metabolized, and which is something a definite no-no as per Ayurveda. So again, pulses, then talking about sprouts, and the third one is drinking about a lot of water. I think that we'll keep it as a separate topic. There's a lot to talk about it, like
Yeah,
later on.
definitely.
And the fourth one is meat. Again, meat is like it's so much of protein, it's so much of fiber, it's so tough to be like broken down. Now if you have a great agni, if you have a great metabolism, a lot of like an appetite, then you can have it. Otherwise it's of no point. Your body is not going to take it in. So, like,
Yeah.
you should always eat as per your appetite, depending on the requirement of your body. If your body needs a lot of, like, protein because you work out a lot, you have a great appetite, and you need a lot of balya or you need a lot of energy, then you can go for again in moderation. And which meat? That is again a second question. So that's about meat. So this is a very basic, like, eat as per your appetite. Yeah.
That is something good. And it is like so much, that we all tend to eat pulses. We all tend to eat green leafy vegetables. In our homes, our moms say, okay, you are not eating pulses. We see Popeye the Sailor Man as our inspiration to eat the spinach.
Yes,
Eat so much
yes.
spinach, you'll be like too good. But it is actually true that there are so much things that we are not aware of. What is right, what is
That
wrong.
being said, have you seen Popoy? He's all lean,
Yeah.
right? He's all
Yes.
lean. And can you imagine the reason behind? Like, if we have to, like, find a reason for that, he feeds on spinach, which is Avata aggravating. And too much of Vata dryness means you end up becoming lean. So you have the classic example. We are forgetting, see, what Popoy looks like, but then we're always about his spinach.
Yeah, because but this is like a new dimension to me. Like now, if I watch Popeye cartoon, I'll always think him as a Vata predominant person. In the
Yeah,
meanwhile,
yeah.
you guys can write your question in the comment section. And hello, the infinite knot. Thanks for joining in. Please, if you have any comments, please write them down in the question section so that we can take it during the session or after the session. Okay, that being said, it is very important. As you highlighted, I like to summarize the sprouted pulses, the sprouts, the pulses, and the green leafy vegetables are something we should definitely, avoid if the agni is not
Yes,
up to
and
it.
as per Ayurveda, there are certain norms to be followed to figure out if a diet or if a meal is balanced enough, which is like 5 to 6 rules are there, which we'll talk eventually. But along with that, it says that in a balanced diet, if you are to include pulses and green leafy vegetables, then you should be doing it only occasionally. Like, if you have a great appetite, if you do not have much of gas trouble, and if you prepare it the right way, then you can have it like, occasionally. And for the same reason, I tell my patients that you have it twice a week. Keep a gap of 3 days and then consume it. So that is something
Yes.
like, all the pulse lovers and green leafy vegetables, we are not saying that you shouldn't be consuming. You can, but this is the criteria. Like, cook it well, cook it in the sense, cook it with the right kind of vata pacifying herbs. Like you have cumin, you have um, like you have garlic. Again, garlic is to be used in the right condition. I would say the safest bet is like, in case of pulses, soak it overnight and cook it with cumin and other digestive and vata pacifying herbs. And in case of green leafy vegetables, have it when you have a great appetite, again cooked with these same spices. Yeah, these are the basics.
But people think here, like they have this common notion that it is very restrictive and we'll be derived of the basic nutrition if we look so much, what is good for our body type, what is not good for our body type. If we look into that, they think that they are getting derived of the, appropriate amount of nutrition that they should consume. So, what's your take on that?
Okay. I know whenever somebody comes and asks me about that, I tell them two things. One, food is fuel. Food is not fun. So if you are giving it the
Yes.
right kind of fuel, it will function well. There's no question regarding it. So as long as you are like, feeling good, you're energetic, enthusiastic, no other health issues, and there is no amount of discomfort in your body, you're eating the right food, irrespective of whatever it be. And the second one is we are not asking you to not to have any of these. Have it, but in moderation. And if there is requirement for it, talk to an Ayurvedic expert. He'll let you know what is lacking anywhere. Okay, if at all you feel you have got, say for example, you are losing weight, or if you feel that I don't think if you skip on pulses and green leafy vegetables, you're gonna get any major symptoms. But still, say for example, you are getting any symptom at all, or say for example, you start getting white patches, which is the first and foremost people say when you have vitamin deficiency, it's because you're not having green leafy vegetables, then you have it.
Yes.
For your mental satisfaction, you can have it provided you have a good appetite. But otherwise, trust me or trust Ayurveda, you are not going to have any such issues. Yeah.
And how, if a person is having weak Agni or a weak digestion, how a person can, really boost that up?
Okay. Now, one, if a person has very poor appetite, it doesn't mean that he has to continue or he will be in that state of poor Agni all his life. Only thing that you have to do is like give it some time. So for example, if you're trying to ignite fire using the good olden ways of like using wood and stuff, what do? You don't pack that stove with a lot of wood, right? What do?
Yes.
You use one or two simple. You don't even use the huge wooden logs. You take small pieces or paper and then you light it. You let it get ablaze, and only then you add bigger and bigger chunks of fuel. Similarly, if your appetite is low, take a break. Take a break, as in don't drink excessive amount of water, don't eat a whole lot of food. Ayurveda suggests something called Peyadikrama, which usually we follow after Panchakarma therapies, but even otherwise, even for the others who have got a very small, very poor appetite, what you have to do is like you have to start with sipping um, peya, which is nothing but the water which you get by cooking rice. Or even more than that, there is another lighter one, which is puffed up rice. So these are very basic. Here, an Ayurvedic doctor would be able to help you better. But keeping that aside, which is like, all the more the best option. But if you're unable to meet an Ayurvedic doctor, I would suggest go for um, freshly cooked, warm, liquidy. Like, there is more of fluid because fluids are easier to be digested, but that doesn't mean that you have to drink liters of water. No, you should be going for warm. Say, for example, even if it be vegetable soup, it should not be packed with a curry like soup. It should be vegetables cooked in water, that kind of soup. Then eat only half to your stomach's capacity or stop it the moment you feel light. These are the basic rules to eat light. I know it's a lot of, it's totally different from what we people are used to hearing to, but this
Yes.
happens to be the reality. If you have not been really getting better despite of trying n number of diets, listening to eating, popping in n number of pills, I would say, why don't you try this for a week? If you feel better, that means that is the one required for you, right? So basically,
Yes.
eat light, warm, and most importantly, after eating food, you should feel energetic. and not exhausted. If you feel drowsy, if you need a power nap, it is not the right kind of food for you. So yes,
That
that is about about the food that you should
enlightened.
be having. Yeah.
Okay, like as you said, we should. I have one doubt, my personal one doubt, that if we are having this Peya Adikrama, or suppose if I'm a person who wants to build up the body, right, and then I'm having Peya Adikrama, and I am also going to a gym to work out, then how do you think this diet will compensate my? Because this is a common notion. If I want to build up muscle, I have to do the gymming part, right? And if I'm doing the gymming part, also I'm doing it in summers, because summer is the time where we flaunt our bodies, right? So again, that is one thing. So how do you think that person should approach? What is the right approach to build a body?
Okay. So first and foremost, we need to check is like, does the person have good appetite? If you have a great appetite, then I would suggest you should start with like eating like 50% of your meal with grains, cereals, and rest of the portion, rest of the 25% you can go for vegetables, and 25% is more than enough for meat. But one thing that you can add is like you can add ghee to it. Now, if you're worrying that if you do not get the right amount of nourishment, you won't be getting like six pack and like biceps, then you can start adding ghee and work out appropriately. Like if you do it excessively, you're gonna lose out on all this. Now, if you work out as per the capacity of your body, eventually you can build. Another thing is like, if you are a female, then you would be needing that perfect 36, 24, 36 figure. For that, definitely you won't be looking for all these biceps and triceps. But there, what you need to do is like eat as per the requirement of your body. Like, that proportion should be maintained of like, a good amount of cereals, then decent amount of vegetables, decent amount of non-veg or soup or whatever it be. I usually suggest a proportion of like 2:1:1, which is like, half the meal has to be cereals. Quarter portion of your like quarter portion or like one portion should be vegetables, and one portion could be either non-veg if you're a non-veg person, or it could be any liquid side dish, because that will take care of the hydration part. So this is the formula that I normally give my patients. And you do this, eat when you are hungry. That is the second most important thing. And not like every 2 hours you keep on munching
Yeah.
something and then you need good figure. That is not going to happen. And work out in the morning so as to ensure that there are a lot of points. But basically, it's to ensure that you have a great appetite so that you don't gain unnecessary fat here and there. So that is about the females. And for males, we would say work on your appetite first and foremost. Once you have a great appetite, start eating good food, which is rice, milk, ghee. And after that, when you have a strong appetite and you've got a very healthy body, then you start working out. But even when you work out, ensure that you can eat protein, you can eat meat. Even I would suggest meat for like
Yeah.
bulk gain or balya, but it has to be the one appropriate to your body. If you are a person with increased body temperature, stick to lamb. If you are a person who are too bulky and trying to lose weight, but you have been advised to have protein, do not have beef. Beef is like, okay, Ayurveda does talk about beef for that matter. It does suggest beef, and that is to be consumed for the emaciated and lean. So if you are towards the bulkier side, beef is definitely a no-no for you. And you can eat chicken provided you do not have increased body temperature. So these are the basics. Then rest of the things depends on like the person as it is, like his physique, his mental status, his bodily conditions. So it's like a highly personalized diet actually in Ayurveda.
Okay, that is really something that I'll keep into my diary. I'll note it down and I'll keep into my head that I have to eat this like this. Because no, first time when I went to gym, because I also wanted to gain weight, to be very frank. So when I went into gym, the gym trainer told me, ma'am, one thing that you have to do is you have to, add meals into your diet. I said, how much meals I can add? So he says every 2 hours you have to eat. Suppose if you are having 3 meals normally, you have to eat 5 meals normally, 5 complete meals in a day. I am damn struggling with my Agni here, and you are talking to me about eating 5 meals a day. And if I'm not eating 5 meals a day, and I'm not working to the strength he's asking me to work out, then he's like, you're not eating enough. It's not my fault that you're not working out. It's because you are not eating the right way, So this is a common suggestion that we get from our gym trainers, that you should,
That is
if you are,
that
yeah,
one point I would like to add. Like, when people say that, like, I'm unable to drink like water. So I'm like, okay, so are you drinking as per thirst? Yes, I am. But then I'm unable to drink 2-3 liters of water. Generally this food issue is, like, not very common, right? Everybody is
yeah,
trying to reduce the quantity of food. I think only 10% lot is trying to gain some good weight and eat every now and then. So I think we'll stick to this basic thing of drinking water. So one thing I tell my patients is, like, see, what you have got in here is stomach. It is not a filter system. Like, you pour water and it just goes like that. Rather, it is like, a complicated system which decides whether it needs that much water. If it needs that much water, it will metabolize, absorb it, then throw out in the form of urine. Now, if your system doesn't need that much of water, what will it do with it? It'll just keep it there. Because anyway,
yes,
like, the body has decided that it is not going to open its gates, right? Because it's not a filter
yes,
system and it's not going to open its gate. So if it has to open its gate, means like the Agni or the appetite has to be that strong. So drink as per the requirement of your body. Generally, it is said, like, no, we know that our body is 70% water. So that is the first and foremost thing people say, like, in our body is 70% water, so we should drink a lot of water. So then the question is, like, so every day morning, is it like, you are evacuating all the 70% water? Say for a 100 kg person, you are losing out all the 70 kg of water from your body, and next day morning, you are like completely only 30 kg. Is that how it is? No, right? You are still the same person. So then why do you need all this water? This water is basically for removing the toxins and maintaining the hydration depending on your sweating. So, for example, Usain Bolt need more water because he is running that much. Whereas people like
yes,
us who are sitting somewhere within the cabin or under the AC where there is barely any perspiration or sweating, what are we to do with all this water?
yes,
Right.
absolutely.
So
That is
drink as
something
per
that you have
yourself.
pointed out. We always, there are water bottles in the market with labelings, 3 liter,
Yes,
5 liter, and people are like, I have to finish this water bottle. And even if they are not able to finish it at the evening, they just put water in the bottle and they, start drinking. Oh, I will finish. And then at one go, 2 liters inside, and they're like, oh, I am full, I cannot eat anymore because I already drank 2 liters of water. So that is one notion breaker that we should understand. Is you're
yeah.
not losing, you, as you said, the favorite part is 70%. You're not evacuating and you're not
Yes,
reducing 70 kgs of weight every day.
yes,
That
yes.
is. And there is one question from Kirtikar Prabhakar. How should a a person eat?
Okay. So, Kirti, are you a kapha person by birth, or are you a kapha person of late because of the lifestyle, and, like, we call it vikriti, like, is it because you're in a kind of a disease state where you have excess phlegm, you are like kind of settled, you are groggy with brain fog? There are two such conditions. So by birth, if you are a kapha person, but still, like, you're all healthy and no issues, then for such people, I would say 2 meals per day is good enough. And that too, your first meal has to be between 10 and 11. One, you have to definitely wake up earlier than the others. Like, generally we say Brahma Muhurta, you have to wake up, which is like 1 hour, 48 minutes, like before sunset. So for them, for the Kabha lot, you have to wake up much earlier. You definitely have to work out, and you have to eat your breakfast not between 8 to 9 or 8 to 10. Rather, you should be eating your meal when hunger pang hits. And for a Kapha person, it is generally between 10:30 to 11:30 that your first hunger pang hits. And for such people, you should be eating food that are comparatively less amount of water, less amount of up and Prithvi Dhatu has to be there, which means that your food has to be comparatively dry. And for the same reason, the best type of sweetener that you can use is honey, not sugar, not jaggery, not palm jaggery. The best form of sugar for you is honey. and you're and when you consume rest of the meal as per hunger pangs, you have to ensure that there is more of spicy, sour, and salty taste to the food. The food has to be generally towards the drier side, light and dry side, and for the same reason yavam is the best cereal for your body type. Not rice, not wheat, not millets. Yavam, or in other words, is called dehusked barley, is the best cereal for you. You can add honey, and generally the food should taste spicy, sour, salty. It should have all the other tastes, but it should be generally towards the spicy side, so that the kapha in your body remains intact. The first and foremost thing, you have to ensure that your body is Kabha by the basic constitution and not because of the disease in you. Because if it is disease, then the whole management, the whole approach would be different. Because then the first and foremost thing is to remove that excess Kabha, bring your body to the state of equilibrium, and then we suggest the kind of diet for you. Okay, so that is about diet for the Kabha people.
A wholesome answer. I got Kirtika got his answer, I think. So that was a wholesome approach to a kapha prakriti person. Also, we have another question that vata or kapha prakriti person, what kind of food they should eat? Again, vata or kapha. So we are gonna talk more about. I think we should dive straight into this topic. What a particular person can eat and what not.
Okay, so talking, I think kapha we have already covered, no? So I think we can
Yes.
stick to vata. Uh, for vata and kapha a lot, something in common is you can start using one basic ingredient in your cooking, which happens to be sesame oil. Sesame oil will bring down your will pacify your vata, as well as do not increase the kapha in your body, because that is the kind of property it possesses. So it is not going to increase your kapha, or it is not going to increase the fat in your body. Rather, it will just keep it in control. So that is common for these two lots. And talking about the diet for Vata lot, Vata lot is generally very hyperactive, very restless. It's their thoughts are like chain reaction. They can keep on thinking just like that. And they're very talkative and they're lean. So for this kind of crowd, I generally suggest that all your foods have to be oily enough, not too oily. It has to be snigdha, or it has to be moist, it has to be warm, it has to be liquidy, and it has to be soft enough. And therefore, for the same reason, the basic foods that a Vata person has to avoid are biscuit, bread, rusk, cookies, rotis, grilled foods, then chilled water and chilled foods. These are very basic. A vata person should not even think of touching this. And also savories, you have all these savories in North India, which is like you have pani puri, you have different kind of things which you have for munching. And in South India, you have got another set of savories which are all oil fried. You have got achapamuru and stuff like that. So this is a definite no-no for you. The ideal snack for a vata person would be some steam cooked. You have these various steam cooked snacks, right? In Kerala we have eleppam, like kolkata, ada, and these kind of things. I think it should be there in your menu as well, no?
We
The
have
steam.
momos.
Oh, you have momos, okay. So weird. So yeah, so that is something you can have as snacks. And for main meals, I would say you can go for um, rice is good for you, not wheat or not barley, not millets. Rice is generally good for the cereals. Vegetables have to be cooked. They have to be sorted in sesame oil ideally, but I don't think many would like the taste of it. So you can go for butter. Butter is good enough. Then the food has to be definitely warm and easy to digest, because for such people their appetite would be kind of erratic. Like in morning they'll be hungry, evening 4 o'clock they'll be hungry, midday they won't be hungry. So if you have an erratic appetite, for them, you have to always cook your food in oil. It has to be warm, freshly made, and light. And also you can drink cumin boiled water for drinking.
For the Vata, a Prakriti person, and also for the Kapha, as you told earlier. What about the Pitta Prakriti person?
Pitta Prakriti person. Okay, we'll start with the cereals. The ideal cereal that I have found is barley. You have the pearled barley, If a
Yes.
severely aggravated, Pitta aggravated person, I suggest pearled barley at least for one meal. Second is I ask him to have rice if it is staple. And third is like he can even have yavam, which is like dehusked barley. So that is about the cereal part. Talking about the vegetables, they have to be calming and soothing. And for the same reason, tubers are pretty good, but it has to be ultimately staple. And coming to the non-veg, you can have duck egg. Duck egg is highly cooling, which is something we generally suggest as pathya or diet for people with bleeding piles. So even the pitta lot can have. And milk, of course, milk and ghee, they are the best for the pitta lot. But as long as there is no inflammation, like if a pitta person, a person with a raised body temperature, how to identify he has got inflammation? They'll have pop-ups, acne, blisters, abscess at some or the other part of their body. Now, if you have that, do not have ghee and milk. Get rid of the inflammation, then start having these cooling herbs. And for drinking water, I generally suggest Indian sarsaparilla or vetiver or sandal. These are great. And take shower in room temperature water.
That is for a Kapha Prakriti person.
Pit,
And is there
pitta.
any Pitta Prakriti person, my bad. So is there any thing like as you are talking about water, drinking vetiver roots, is there something like people like to drink a morning detox water, that is quite trending these days. So any detox water that you would suggest for a particular Prakriti person?
Okay. First and foremost is what is detox water? Because the word meaning itself, it means like you have to remove the toxins from your body, and
Yeah.
you have to use the right kind of herb depending on the prakriti of your body. So for example, if a pitta person has to remove the toxins out of his body, ideally in Ayurveda there is nothing of that sort. It's all about like apapachan and like settling down your body.
Yes.
So yes, more or less it can be correlated to that. Then for a pitta prakriti person, it would be Indian sarsaparilla, vetiver, coriander seeds if you have inflammation or swelling. So depending on your body's then and there status and the constitution, we figure out which is the best herb for you. Freshly boiled water. For a Pitta Prakriti person, we say that boil, cool it down, and then have. Now for a Vata Prakriti person, we suggest fennel seed, cumin, um, Krishna Jira, and which of these would be the best depending on your body's condition. Say, for example, if you're a person with a lot of gas trouble in your stomach, I suggest cumin. Now, if you have got acidity, I suggest fennel seeds. And if you have, say, you have got PCOD, or if you have got issues with periods, then we suggest Krishna Jira or the black cumin. And talking about kapha person, I generally suggest ginger, dried ginger. Dried ginger does the job well in that. Yeah.
So that
So
is one thing that everyone cannot have the same detox water.
no,
It
no, no, no,
has
no,
to
no.
be
Personalized.
customized. Yes,
Yes.
and that is coming to that. Like I already posted one thing. There is regarding COVID. There is Ayush Kada is also trending. So every person, can you give us some light on this? Every person can have the same Ayush Kada.
No, 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 definitely not. Definitely not. I don't even know why it is being like released by the government. One, I don't know if I'm going to be smacked for this, but then okay, it's like totally baseless. A person who knows the basic Ayurveda would never suggest that. Two, why is it being given? It is being given for the basic immunity. Now, this Ayushkara is good for people who have got kapha aggravation or kapha prakriti. For them, it is good enough because on continuous consumption, it will take care of the excess phlegm. So, this Ayushkara, if given for the general rot for 5 days or 7 days, it is okay. At least it won't cause much of havoc. But upon regular consumption, for a Vata Prakriti person, your body is going to be so dry, your intestine is going to be dry, you won't be able to pass bowels regularly. Then you'll be having dry skin. And for a Pitta Prakriti person, I hope there is no distraction, no?
Yeah, it's just fine. It's fine. I
Okay.
can hear you
And
clearly.
and for a Pitta Prakriti person, it is just going to instantaneously keep aggravating the heat in his body. And we have come across so many people who have been very irritable ever since consuming Ayush Kada. Acidity has gone high, their body temperature has gone high. Many people have ended up with hair fall. In fact, at times
Yes.
I doubt if we have got so much of a hair fall issue in India today, if it's because of Ayush Kada, because it has triggered so much of dryness in your body. So Ayush Kada is not for all. It is for Kapha Prakriti or Kapha Vikriti or the aggravated Kapha lot. And for the others, if you're looking for immunity, get in touch with an Ayurvedic expert. He'll figure out what is the best for reinstating the immunity in your body.
Yes. So that is one thing, that self-medication, just going to the chemist and talking, give me
Never.
Ayush Kada because COVID is coming around, is not the solution to your immunity. And there is also one question from Anjali Miglani, how to reduce 20 kgs weight. She's laughing.
She's
How to
look,
reduce weight.
how to reduce 20 kgs. My gosh. One, how is your appetite? How is your metabolism? And what is the name?
She is not telling the weight. No one tells me. She wants to
Okay.
reduce 20 kgs.
Okay. So Anjali, one, how is your appetite? Two, are you sleeping on time? Are you waking up on time? As per the Dinacharya said in Ayurveda. Two, what foods are you consuming? Three, have you got any health conditions currently? Four, are you willing to be a vegetarian? Okay, I'm done.
Okay. So you can also write your question, guys. We'll be addressing them. So you can also write your questions. And I have next thing, that is incompatible foods. So personal favorite white sauce pasta. What are your comments on incompatible food?
Okay, so incompatible foods. First and foremost, yes, we prefer believing that it's a myth because in Kerala, curd and fish is like the favorite combination. So the moment you talk about it, people are like it's a myth. Fine, like okay, fine. If you prefer to believe it as a myth, so be it. But when a patient comes to you, and especially if he comes with a oozing skin condition, or if he has got regular sinusitis or regular infection in your body, or if you are struggling to lose weight, or if you have got gastritis issue, like a constant burning kind of sensation, and then you have got swelling at different parts of your body, this is the first and foremost thing that we ask them to remove. Now, if you ask us if there are any research reports or study reports or tests, the answer have got is one, um, upon studying incompatible food, what is the benefit the investor is going to get? Are there any investors who are coming to willing to come forward and invest on a study for which they are not going to going to gain anything in return, because
Yes.
you're not going to be able to sell any product. You're just going to do some good for the humanity, and if you keep doing good to the humanity, you're not going to get money return. Okay, so
Yes.
there has been nobody to not major investors to support such studies. Two, if the government has taken up this for studies, the problem is the same food combination, Virudahara, won't be creating the same kind of issue in every body. That is because if you are a kapha person, if you have a kapha aggravation in your body, you will have problem in consuming incompatible food. The second is a vata lot. In your case, you won't have any oozing or sinusitis, but you will generally have an upset stomach. And for the pitta lot, not major issue will be there because most of the time they'll be able to metabolize it up. But again, then they'll become excessively secretive. The best idea to understand that is you consume this combination. Imagine you're consuming white sauce pasta. How do you feel like, momentarily, how do you feel? Immediately you feel kind of
Yeah.
groggy. Now, a highly nourishing food, like an energetic food, energizing food, should not make you feel that. It should make you feel energetic. So, if something is
Yes.
making you feel groggy or settled or like drowsy, that means it is having some kind of impact in your body which is not really asked for. So, that means this effect, this grogginess is because of the excess um, secretory property of this combination. Now, if you're a person who is so very used to it, no major issues will be there unless and until you are a kapha person, or unless and until you take shower in cold water regularly. Okay, that is too much of scientific thing. Let's keep that aside. Talking about incompatible combination, the problem is depending on your body type. If you're a kapha person, then you will have a problem. If you have got poor appetite, then you will have a problem. If you have a tendency for, if there is a hereditary issue of having psoriasis, like then rheumatoid arthritis like conditions, gout, or SLE similar like conditions, then you should be cautious about this combination because it is going to trigger it. Or if you have already had it, then it's just going to worsen it. So depending on your body, a combination becomes problematic. And same is the case with Viruddhahara or incompatible condition. It becomes a problem, cannot metabolize. If the metabolism is poor, then it won't be, it will be a problem. Second, it will be a problem if you are a kapha person or kapha aggravated person. So that is about incompatible combination. So it's not that everybody is going to have a problem, and it's not a definite no for everybody. Occasionally you can consume, like if you're so fond of it, eat it when you have a very strong hunger pain for lunch in moderation, followed by warm water or fasting.
Yeah, we should do something to modify the culprit. If we are consuming it, it's not like every day you're having white sauce pasta or every day you're consuming the same Viruddhahara. And then you're thinking, I am eating the right kind of food. Suppose people in North India, what people are fond of, they're really fond of eating malai chini with paranthas. Paranthas are salty and malai is itself a dairy product, and they're mixing the two up. And then they are thinking, we have not done anything wrong
Huh.
to our body, and then suddenly one day they get psoriasis. So
Yes,
that's not
yes,
the
yes, yes,
case.
yes. And I think the same is the case with a popular food in, especially in the north, which is, it's not really an incompatible combination, but it's a definite no as per Ayurveda. Okay, milk plus curd is incompatible. I think we are all aware of it. But did you
Yeah.
also know that paneer also falls under the same family? It has been
No.
curdled. Paneer falls under the same family, and for the same reason, it is not meant for regular consumption because it has been curdled. Now, if you go through Ashtanga Sangraha, Prakashika Vyakhyan, it is said that milk should never be combined with anything that is sour, be it lime or vinegar or curd.
But we think that paneer is the most healthy thing we can eat
Yes,
too.
we think so.
Yes, especially when some guests arrive, paneer is the only dish we serve to them because they think it is so precious, paneer.
Huh.
North Indians are very fond of paneer, and also you have just I'll put this out to my mother that whenever she think that I should eat paneer, that paneer is not the right kind of thing for me. Also,
Yes.
like my this one thing is there that if we are eating a particular food, as I told, suppose we are eating pizzas and we are having cold drinks with it, so that is gonna burst our agni. What will happen to our agni? It will just die off. So what is your take on that? How to manage
Okay.
such conditions?
Okay. Even I like pizza. It's not that I don't like pizza. I like pizza. But one thing I ensure is that I eat it during the sane hours. Sane hours as in either for, either for, either for,
Right, person.
it's okay, either for lunch or when I have great appetite. So for that, what I do is like I don't skip the previous meal because you should never skip the previous meal because it will just make it's like kind of vada gets aggravated. Okay, it's in put in simple words, it will just worsen your stomach's condition. So eat something light. The previous meal has to be light. Two, you can have pizza, but in moderation. Like, it is said that, like, how to figure out if you are eating the right quantity of food. The food has to be light. Now, if the food is light enough, then you can eat up to satiety or satiety. When you feel good, you can stop it there. But if you eat something very heavy and solid, before it reaches that satiety feeling, you have to stop it. So that's the thing. That's the key actually. Eat before it gets full and drink warm water in between. And sorry, you cannot pair it with cold drinks. No. Now, if you have
Yes.
paired it, the ideal option is that do not sleep immediately after that. Um, do go for like 100-step walk, and three, the next meal make it fruits whenever you get the hunger pang. Wait for your body to get proper hunger pang, and eat fruits.
So that is one thing. For pizza lovers, please make a note of it. And there is one question that how to increase metabolism. Blue Diamonds is saying how to increase metabolism. We have already discussed, I guess.
Yeah. It's
How to
like
increase metabolism. Yeah.
uh, okay. Okay. I'll give you a a kind of a this maybe you can follow for 5 days and see how your body is performing. Eat very light. Eat when hungry. Um, Avoid oils, milk, non-veg, packeted foods. Anything that comes in a packet is a no-no. And drink, eat cereal-based foods. Yes, cereal-based foods. It could be either a rice porridge, or it could be just a rice soup and with some chutney to trigger the appetite. This follow for 3 days, and the rest of the 2 days you can stick to rice or any well-cooked sona masuri kind of rice, and something spicy, sour, salty in the form of pickle. Say you can go for salt pickled amlas along, or you can go for chutney. You do this for 5 days, eat when you're hungry, and do nice warm up in the mornings facing the rising sun, avoiding day nap. In 5 days, your appetite will get better or your metabolism will kickstart. But there's a
That
lot
is
to be done
really
after that. But to start with, this is good enough.
also like he's also asking, or Blue Diamonds is also asking how to reduce burning sensation inside the stomach.
Okay, step one, avoid all the incompatible combinations. The most common incompatible combinations are fish and non-veg with milk or curd, eating cooked with uncooked, like rice and salad, chapati and salad. Then three, avoiding curd. Yes, of course, you have to avoid curd. Four, drink water boiled with vetiver, or even fennel seed is good. Or the best thing is make it a habit to munch a combination of say 50% 1:1 combination of fennel seed with mishri, sugar candy. After every meal, make it a habit to have it. And then what? Then eat light. Yes, you will be out of your burning sensation.
That was really helpful. Okay, so I think you got your answer, Blue Diamonds, and we are coming to the end of the session. So I'd also like to add about juices. I really wanted to ask how to eat, how to drink juice, and what is the right season to have juice. That is one thing that I really wanted to ask.
Okay, so about juice. Uh, why do you need juice? Is the first question. Like, what is the purpose you're looking forward from juice? Don't tell me it is for health and hydration and all. No. Let's assess the properties of juice. It is like more of water. It's too much of liquid. It is sweet. It is instantaneously. It is like it removes a thirst, which is Krishnahara. So you should be having it when you want to immediately ward off your thirst, and when you have to cool down your body, and when you need hydration. So these are the basics about juice. Now, when do we need it? And which is the season when we feel we need all these things as a package? That is summer season. So the ideal season for you to have juice is definitely summer. Again, when you're thirsty, in moderation. For the diabetic lot, I say add a little bit of honey and have. For the non-diabetic lot, I say add mystery or sugar and have. So that is about juice. And those health conditions wherein juice is a blessing would be conditions of atyagni or hyper appetite. Like say for those people, for every 2 hours they need to eat something. For them, two for menopausal age group, or wherein they have these hot flushes, thirst, excessive perspiration. And the third lot would be those people who experience a lot of trishna or thirst. So they should be having juice. Now, juice of what is the question? That actually depends on your body type. Like, if you have been experiencing feverishness, and if you want your body to get dry, then pomegranate it is. Now, no sour fruits for regular consumption. Sour fruit juice for regular consumption, like, pineapple, orange, mosambi, lime, grapes are not for regular consumption. And it is basically for the kapha lot of people, like, who are like kind of very settled. They can have citrus fruit juice once in 3 days. And what? For the pitta lot, I would suggest the juice made out of sugarcane.
Okay.
Good enough.
And one thing that you pointed out is the juice according to the body type. One should have, what. So suppose everyone cannot have. So everyone cannot have the pomegranate juice or the orange juice. So they should look what according to what body type they are having. Also, as per my understanding, I think that juices are you have like you get a whole fruit and you have to chew it. You take time to accumulate the thing into your body to digest it. If you are drinking it one go, you should actually drink it really slow instead of just gulping it up in one go.
Yes.
So that is one thing. If people are really thirsty, they go to a juice vendor and they say okay, and they directly put it in, so the digestion will not be proper if we are drinking it that way.
Yes, yes, especially chilled juice and all. It's not for regular consumption.
Yes.
But and any day, fruits are better than fruit juice during the rest of the seasons. But during summer, it is okay because you need that much of water. And when you're
Yes.
excessively thirsty, you really can't wait to cut a fruit and eat it. You would rather prefer
Yes.
drinking some water because your body needs that kind of uptake. So yeah,
Yes.
that is about juice.
And okay, so we have covered almost all of the things. There is one thing that I like to talk about is the last things, Dr. Alka, is nightshade vegetables. And when to avoid cabbage, when to avoid brinjal, potato, the favorite potato. So what is your?
Okay. Okay. I couldn't come across a reference in Ayurveda or any of the Ayurvedic scriptures which says the Solanaceae family vegetables are bad. In fact, two of the popular herbs, which is Brihadi Doya, comes from the Solanaceae family. So I think
Yes.
nightshades doesn't really make sense. Talking about the other vegetables that comes under, which is like tomatoes, cabbage, you have brinjal, and then you have peppers. Okay, cabbage falls under the green leaf vegetables. So that is for, as we discussed, occasional consumption. Even the thyroid lot can have. I have been having. I was hypothyroid 5 years, 15 years back. When I was diagnosed with hypothyroidism 15 years back, about for 5 years I have not been consuming any medicine. I am pretty much all good. There were no health issues as such now. So cabbage, being a green leafy vegetable, is not for regular consumption. Talking about tomatoes, tomatoes are sour, and I have come across articles which says that this is rajasic. Other than the sour taste associated with, I don't know what else makes it so rajasic. So I can't really rely on those articles. So I would say the pitta lot, take it a little less, but if you're staple to it, you can use it in moderation. Talking about brinjal, brinjal is one vegetable. In Kerala, what we do is like what we are asked or advised to do is like you have to cut and put it in rice water, rice washed water or rice soup to get rid of the toxin. And so that is about brinjal. And brinjal is a great vegetable for the vata lot if you have a great digestion. For the kapha lot, it is not really suggested. And talking about peppers, if you're really looking for some good amount of vegetables, but in moderation, then I would say just peppers are fine. Like once in 3 days, you can consume, nothing is going to happen. But again, you have to sort and have it. These are about nightshade vegetables. So it's nothing like nightshade vegetables are bad for you because you're not going to consume gallons or you're
Yes.
not tons. No, okay. In moderation is fine.
So that was very informative, Dr. Alka. So with that, I think it's more than 1 hour. So we will,
Okay. Yeah.
yeah, it was really fun. I didn't actually see the time. I just saw that it's more than 1 hour. Oh God, it was really informative and
I
really
know.
fun to, learn from you, Dr. Alka. It's
Thank
always a
you.
pleasant experience. So
Thank
thank you so much, everyone, for joining. And any last words, Dr. Alka, that you would like to say?
Yeah, one is like, I have been wanting to talk about this topic for long, like about the balanced diet, food, incompatible combinations, nightshades, because I have been hearing many people saying a no-no to nightshades. So then I have been trying to understand what is so much about nightshades. Like, if you start
Yeah.
grouping foods like dairy, no, gluten, no, lactose, then what was there? Nightshades, no. So then what is left? The only thing left is pulses and pulses and meat. You can't keep consuming that alone. No? So
Yes.
then it's like, okay, then we need to really understand the properties. There are exceptions. I'm not saying that there are no exceptions. Even under this rule, there are exceptions depending on your body type. So yes, I'm glad that you came up with this idea of talking about this one. Very important, very relevant in today's life when everybody is keen to know about, like, about food, about the balanced food, then like incompatible combinations, about water. So yeah, I am glad that it made some sense to people, and I hope they benefit out of it.
Yeah, please, and everyone, please, thank you for joining, and please share this session with whosoever needs it. I think it is really informative and really a myth breaker. For me, it was about paneer, about the green leafy vegetable, about sprouts, about pulses. I think it was really, really informative for me, and for other people who think that it is worth sharing, please share it with people who need it. So
Yes,
thank you so
yes.
much, Dr. Archaitis. I am really, really, really in awe of, so much. The information that you have poured upon is so good. Thank you so much. And thank you everyone for joining. Thank you so much, Dr. Alka.
Bye bye.
Bye. Bye, everyone.
Bye bye.